The and of course the website is, gee, I forgot what the website is. Okay, yeah. What is it, Henry? TJC.hosted. Right. .com. And your password is student one. So if you've got to review the lectures, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so chapter 4, we're going back a little bit. We're going to do some fine tuning on functions. Generally speaking, I'm not in favor of anonymous functions and function handles and various things like that. You can do it. Generally speaking, I just like to create a new file. The best way, here's the new file command. Script and function are right at the top. Let me erase this little guy from the previous class. So we have the script and function file. The example, this is an example of how to publish. So when you right-click in this current folder window, you can get some, they're template files is what they are. They're creating templates for you so that it makes life a little easier. You can zip things up, you'll notice. Class is object-oriented programming, a little bit beyond this particular class. But a script basically is, let's see. So I can choose my name for my script. I open it, I double click it, it opens up in the editor. It's blank. So I'm just going to create a little script file. I hit run. It's going to save for me, and it's going to execute the commands. I go back to the main command window, and when I hit run, when I hit that run button in the editor, it issues this command in the command window. So that's a script. A script starts with a blank file. Function. Now, oh, by the way, I just typed in the same name that I used before, and it tells me don't do this. Your file by this name already exists. So Matlab does try to give you hints when things go wrong. So plot trig func. There we go, plot trig func. I open up this file, and I'll see it gives me some hints. This is part of what you were asked to do on the exam. This is stuff we have talked about before. So input array, I'll call it range. The output argument, you can have, I asked you to do one matrix output. So let me do an example of that. The one matrix output. And so right. And it's giving me a warning here for some reason, right? Oh, the warning is here's A, might be function A, might return value is unset. Well, I haven't set anything yet. Yes, it gives me an error. A range, it's unset. It might be unused. So I consider it. So it tries to give you hints about what's going on. So range is a range of values. I'm making a equal the sine d of the sine in degrees of the range. Oh, let me erase the semicolon. It gives me a warning here too. If you don't want this to be spit out when you're running the function, you might want to terminate with a semicolon. In general, you want to do that. Okay. To add to A, this will concatenate. You take the old value of A and put tangent. No problem. Okay. So let's go ahead. Watch out for your brackets, square brackets. When you're making matrices, you've got to use the squares. If you use regular parentheses, you'll get something else. You'll get a structure, what's called a structure. We're going to get into that a little later in the semester. Don't do it for now. Square brackets for now. If you use the curly braces, you're going to get something else. It's called a cell array. We're going to get to that later in the semester. They're actually quite useful. A structure is very useful when you're interfacing with a database because it's set up a lot like databases are set up. A cell array is very useful when you're interfacing with Excel because a cell array is C-E-double-L. A cell array acts a lot like an Excel spreadsheet. So those are, yeah. It does sound like celery, doesn't it? Yeah. For now, stick to the square brackets. They're matrices.
Okay, but on A, first A, not the second one, line 4. Yeah, line 4. Was that square brackets as well? I can't see.
Now, yes, square brackets are to create matrices. When you're calling a function, which is what we're doing here, we're calling a function. When you're calling a function, you do use ordinary parentheses. So we're calling a function here, we're calling a function here. The function being tan d in this case, or the function being sine in degrees in this case. So Matlab does give you some functions where you can input the range in degrees.
Is it necessary for the spaces?
No, not. A lot of times the spaces are just there to make it more readable.
On line 2, is that a double percent sign or a single?
It's a single percent.
And 3 is a single percent?
That's correct.
Well, how do you make that a function?
If I create a public, I'll go ahead and create a publish file around this, a script file around this to show how to publish. Right now, I'll just end right here, and I'll call it. So I better save it, save, and let's do it. You can specify the range. So what I've done here is my input to the function, and I'm trying to select it. There it is. This is just a matrix that I'm calling. It'll make a row matrix. I actually don't want a row matrix. I want a column matrix because the matrix A coming out is going to be a column matrix. So I will transpose it right there. And voila, here's A coming out. Let's go plot. That's to transpose the matrix. Right. So this will make a row vector into a column vector. And you'll notice the answer out is in columns. So we're fine. We're okay. So, you know something? I did something weird with my function. I didn't put the degrees in the first column. There we go. Let's go. There, let's do it then. We'll fix it this way. So I'm putting my degrees in. I'm putting my sine of the angle as the second column. The tangent of the angle is the third column. Okay. Save, and let's run it. Let's go back and run it. Oops. You can always, if you want to clear stuff, you'll notice there's drop-down menus everywhere. Yeah, CLC. You can use the command, or you can use the UI, the Windows. This this is MATLAB is a real programming language, but maybe part of the reason it's very popular in engineering is you do have a lot of GUI going on, and like Excel or other programs or Word or whatever that you use. So there's lots of ways you can skin this cat in more than one way, and so it takes a little exploration to find it, but it can usually be there. So all these little down arrows, they're a menu of some sort. So you can go look and see what's in the menu. Okay. Somebody asked back to the editor. So here's the editor. I'm just making my output here. First of all, it's whatever I input. The second column will be what A was before, which is the sine in degrees of the range. So the range has to be in degrees. And I've omitted putting in all the comments. Okay, so I'm getting the sine of the angle here. I could have actually put this. I could have put this here. The sine D, right? But I also wanted to show how to concatenate matrices. This, what I've highlighted here, that's just the old value of A. A is just a column vector right now. And so I'm saying, oh, I want the new value of A to be all the degrees, all the angles. The second column of A to be the sine in degrees of A, the old value of A. The second column of the new A is the old value of what A was before. And then the tangent D. So this is kind of showing some of the techniques you use to create a function. Okay, let's go back to the command window. We're going to re-execute this, and I should get 3 columns. And I do have all the degrees and things like that. I can plot. And I believe it's X, Y, so now you can select. Remember, when you're working with matrices, you can select a particular column of the matrices. So I want all the rows, which is the colon, and the first column. And I want to plot this against all the rows and the second column. So this will just create my sine plot right here. Oh, I forgot. I know what I did wrong. If you guys figured this out. Okay. Okay, after I'm done talking, I'll come over and see what's going on with you guys. You might have forgotten a parentheses, a comma somewhere, and things like that. Okay, what I forgot was that when you don't put something equals the function, it automatically spits out the answers into the variable ans. And then I tried to plot A, and it says undefined variable A. Yep. Oop. Answer is defined, A is not. So let's set A equals. By the way, you will notice I used A inside this function. It does not exist outside. See, I tried to plot it. I used it inside, but it doesn't. Now it doesn't exist. These are what are called local variables. That the variable only exists in the function. When you go out, and that makes you can separate things. You can use the same name inside the function as outside, and there won't be any confusion. If what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, what happens in your function stays in your function, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna, oops, I forgot. Let's see, I hit the wrong one. Okay, I want to define A first of all, then I want to plot it, and I should have a parentheses here. There we go. There we go. It'll make a plot now. And let's go see what the figure looks like. It looks like the sine from 0 to 180, like it's supposed to. Okay, so that is so that's a review. Actually, we've talked about all this stuff before. Maybe you guys have picked up a couple of hints and tricks that kind of that you kind of forgot about before. Now, you can have multiple outputs. Let's go ahead and go back to our function and see that. Okay, I'm not quite sure if this will work or not. I think it's giving me a red sign, invalid syntax and stuff like that. This does have to be a variable, so it's giving me a hint. This will not work. So I better make, after I create the sign ranges, let's do this. I'm going to output two things now, A and B. I've just created B, and I'm going to output both of them. And go back. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. If I do this, it gives me just what the first variable. So far, it's identical to what we've done before. But B should be in there. I'm double checking to make sure I did save it. This is the new function. To get both variables out, this will, variable 1 comma, you're making a vector. You're getting both vectors out. So it's going to be looking for a second variable now. There we go. So this is outputting what we've done before. This is just the first output as a matrix. Here comes the second output matrix. So this is how you handle two outputs. Generally speaking, I don't advise two outputs. It starts getting complicated. One matrix, 5 columns, not 5 outputs. One matrix, 5 columns on the test. On the test, I asked you to do that. And that was basic. I was looking for matrix manipulation, that you knew how to concatenate matrices to each other. So I was looking for that on the exam. Okay. I'm going to let you read the book. Just looking at time, I'll let you read the book about evaluating functions. There is an eval. There's inline functions. There's anonymous functions, and we've talked about those before. So I'm going to let you read the book about that. We'll get back to the eval function a little later, though. It will come back. Subfunctions. in this function file, you can create another function down below here. You can keep creating functions in this one file. The only problem is, if you define another function in this file, it does not exist outside the file. It's only available, if you write a second function on line 8 and so forth, it's only available to this function. That's it. It's only available to functions that you've written before. So, this is nested functions and subfunctions. Generally speaking, I'll let you read the book on that. Study the book on that. Generally speaking, it's not highly advised. Just create files here. Just for whatever you need to do. Get a naming convention that works for you, that works well for your project, whatever it is. Your book does give some hints about writing good functions to make them readable, to make them well organized. A lot of programming, you just got to stay organized. So using a good organizational scheme to help you out. Okay. Yes. Uh-huh. Okay. Right. Okay, let's do that.
That's easy. That's pretty self-explanatory. A equals random thing. Yeah. And then multiply it by 100.
Okay, and then you have to fix it.
Fix A. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so we get to this point. And this book shows you how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, for that. I can get to that point. I can get to the next point, but I don't think it's the way that the book wants me to do it.
Okay, replace all elements of A that are greater than 10 with zeros.
Less than 10 with 0.
Okay.
So this is what I do. I multiply. I find.
Well, yeah, and you're right. Let me show you something about that. Okay, all the elements of A that are less than 10. Let's see. B equals A.
Less than 10. So
Okay,
get ones and
so
zeros.
yes, you get ones and zeros when you do this.
And then I multiplied it by A again.
That works.
That's how I got the next one. Then you can't do that to make it.
Right, you get ones and zeros of.
Say A equals B times A.
Perfect.
Yeah,
so far, so good. That's great. Okay. The infinity is a little bit trickier. Oops, I got to redefine it.
Oh, because you didn't do B dot.
Yeah, I should have. So I have to do it again, and I have to do. Okay, so I got the B matrix, and then C equals B dot star A. There we go. We always forget that. Yeah, everybody does that. They forget when they have to do it element by element or not element by element. And I get lots of zeros.
You should have done A greater than 10. Because that would
right.
make everything less than greater than or equal to 10. Greater than or equal to 10. Because it doesn't want 10 to be 0.
Right, there we go. There we go. So I get only zeros where, and then I can do B dot C equals B dot star A. So now I have my original A. I'm keeping it around so it doesn't go away. Okay.
Yeah, the infinity, I cannot figure out how to.
Okay, obviously you're going to get you're going to get ones and zeros again. Here's what you can do.
And if you multiply 0 times infinity, you get not a number.
So D equals A, or yeah, A greater than.
Everything greater than 90.
So I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Less than, oops, equal to 90. So this will put zeros everywhere. D will have zeros everywhere. Oh, excuse me. I want zeros where A is greater than 90. There we go. This will put zeros wherever A is greater than 90. It'll put ones. This is true whenever A is less than or equal to 90, or 1. This will be 0 whenever A is greater than 90. So I'm putting zeros there. And I can go E dot divide A, or excuse me, D. Now I'll get, wherever there's a 0, there's an infinity. F equals, now, what did we say? C dot star E. There we go. So this will keep all the values and put all the infinities where you want them.
Where'd you get the E from?
I just went A, B, C, D, E, F. I'm just doing that. So here's the trick, Martin, for creating those in ones where you want values to stay the same and infinities where you don't. 1 dot divide. So 1 over 0, 1 divided by 0 is infinity. It'll create infinities where you want them. Okay.
I was thinking there was a way that it's like a function for a.
I'm not aware of it. There might be. It might be. There might be a function somewhere. It's just not at the top of my memory right now that can do this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end talking here unless you have any other questions. That was a good question, by the way. That's a good thing we needed to review. So, chapter 4, because I'm going to be gone Friday, be sure and read and study chapter 4 well. I won't be able to talk about it as much as I want to. I already discussed local variables. In chapter 4, there's a way you can define a global variable that I said what happens inside the function stays in the function. Well, there's a way you can override that. It's called, you define a variable global. The command is even global, G-O-L-B-A-L. So you define a global variable, and it does what happened in Vegas does not stay in Vegas if you define a variable global. It ends up on Facebook, right, everything. So in general, global variables are ill-advised. The way to do it exists for those people who really want to do it. Generally speaking, I don't advise global variables. It's talked about in 4.3.3, section 4.3.3. Loops and branching, I'll do that Monday. We'll start talking about loops and branching and if and then and switch and for and while and things like that. Okay, any other questions? I'll go ahead and stop here. If you have individual questions, I'll be available to answer them. If you have a question for the whole class, I can do it up here at the board. So any questions for the whole class? Okay, that's it. I'll be available for individuals then. And I'll come on over to see you guys.